as the Creative Person of the Year, the APAC's #1 Chief Creative Officer and stuff. So today, he'll actually take us through the process of a great creative brief. So if you're a small business owner or someone who's looking to innovate in your campaigns, you can learn a lot from how to write a creative brief. So over to you.
Thanks so much. Okay, this is the one. Fantastic. I just want to ask before that, just so I get to know you guys a little bit, how many of y'all have a background in anything to do with marketing, advertising, creativity, design? Okay, fantastic. Wow, this session is going to be useless to all of you guys, the ones that did not raise your hands, because we're going to slightly start with, how many, yeah, so the rest of y'all, are y'all familiar, or have y'all been part of how, let's say, an advertising campaign gets launched for a brand, etc.? Okay, super. Okay, I'm going to improvise then, because I was kind of assuming that in case a bunch of y'all are, let's say, from backgrounds that are outside marketing, maybe a little bit more of a covering base might be required. But great, this is good. This is slightly more familiar territory. Considering it's probably one of the last couple of sessions of the day, I think it's a good time to probably start with seeing a little bit of work. I personally love the food industry a lot, because I think what we understand today about brand building and brand consistency and how to actually build something that lasts for over multiple decades, etc. The food industry pretty much had a monopoly in teaching the rest of the industries what consistency in brand building is even about. The fact that the same dish from the same restaurant tastes the same way across 10 years, across 10 different branches, across multiple cities. Those codes are what are taken and applied to different parts of something in order to even create what a brand could be. I think every industry, right from building steel to even delivering packages or a dating app, anything that you're in, you owe something to understanding how brand building works by understanding food a little bit. But since then, I think, especially in the last, let's say 15, 20 years, we've come a long way to a point where I think we have way more brands right now and way less meaning in each of those brands. I think do you guys, top of your mind, do you all remember a really memorable piece of promotion from any food brand that you'll have seen in the last half a decade, which stayed with you, which made you actually want to go and buy that brand, which made you a regular customer, which made you refer something? Yes, sir.
I think Cadbury practiced with Kuch Meetha Ho Jaye.
Kuch Meetha Ho Jaye. Yeah.
They really practiced.
Yeah. And that's one of the standouts, right? When the Cadbury's whole idea of how do you replace the Indian sweet during a festive season with chocolate. And yes, you're right, I think that took almost a decade long to kind of build. But over and above that, we can see there are thousands and thousands of brands kind of out there, and there's this very funny word in the design world called blanding. Those of you who are from a design background would probably be familiar with that. Every brand kind of looks the same different, if you know what I mean. There is a certain sense of sameness to the uniqueness that brands want to employ, especially when it comes to packaging, right? And which gives this sense of false originality, which doesn't really convert into the rest of what you're building. And I think what Kenaz was mentioning a little earlier in her session about perceived value, I think a lot of that value has to do with how that perception happens through promotions, advertising, design, the way your brand sounds, looks, etc. And there's a lot of scope for improvement in the food category overall from that standpoint. I want to, rather than speak about, let's say, print, television, packaging based promotions, a lot of which might not apply to, let's say, traditional QSRs in the same way that it might apply to an automobile brand. I want to talk a little bit about some of the innovations that some food brands that you have known or might not know have done in the last decade's personal favorites. And we'll wind with a small session in case this is just covering the basics of a great creative brief in order to get innovations out from any creative team. We'll just spend a little 5 minutes on that. So I want to start off with, if you just move to the next slide. I want to start off with this piece that that we did for Swiggy Instamart about 4 years ago. Do you all remember when Instamart launched? I think it was a little pre-pandemic, 2019-ish, if I'm not wrong, in a proper big way. Instamart and Dunzo, their demonetization moment, so to speak, was during the pandemic. And the challenge that Instamart gave us right from the beginning was, how do you make this brand a household name amongst your biggest customers? The way you usually go about a campaign like this, this has huge budgets needed written all over it, right? How do you make it a household name amongst biggest competitors? The way that this was solved was through a completely different approach. We'll just take a look. It's a video. I think that's, yeah. You need to connect elsewhere? Okay, I'll just talk you through these guys.
Kofta is not at all Indian.
Stop using table salt in your cooking.
Chef 1, make sure you're wearing the left earbud.
And Chef 2, wear the right one.
Hi, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make the eggplant parmigiana. It is a delicious baked dish that is made from roasted eggplant. So this is Let's start with a generous sizzle of
So when this kind of launched in so what you have over here is a way more silent idea, so to speak. It's not one which is broadcast. It's not something which is going to get like what do you say, tens of thousands of views and shares, etc. But impacting each consumer in the privacy of their homes. Plus, apart from it, of course, being part of an important discourse, I think. Not too many brands, like I think attention is definitely a currency and we should all hail attention. I think memorability has often come at the cost of attention in the way that we look at promotions overall. To have something which is physical, which you're going to be seeing day on day, week on week, month on month almost, means that your quote-unquote Instamart promotion is there in their house, and that sense of permanency, that tangibility, which has its own value in a world where most of the stuff that you're laughing at, crying at, emoting at is on a screen, right? How often have you guys, I'm sure, have you seen a billboard that you have liked in the recent past? How many of you have seen a billboard that you have liked? in the recent past. Fantastic. 2 out of a room of probably like 40 people. How many of y'all have seen like a picture of a really funny billboard that went viral on Twitter? There we go. So a lot of brands, there is a certain value that comes to thinking not only in a digital way, to invest not in the billboard, but in the picture of the billboard, so to speak. And it's really funny, right? The internet knows it's not a real place, and it craves information from the real world as much as possible to like make news out of and see value out of. So especially when it comes to brands in food, there is so much of physicality associated with it. To do a marketing plan which is almost exclusively digital makes it feel a little distant from what the category is actually about, and stuff like this can go a long way. Moving on from this. Okay, fantastic. So what you have over here is, this is a campaign done by this brand called Square Shakes in America. Sonic Drive-In, so sorry, in America. The campaign's called Square Shakes. What it started out as is a simple blue sky question of how do I get the customers who are already happy with me to refer me to more people. It's one of the most traditional marketing tasks that will be there in any business in the first few years, right? But the way that they've gone about it is completely different. It's a very cool piece of work. I think I'll let you guys know what they kind of did. So any milkshake so Sonic Drive-In was almost like this Shake Shack. This doesn't look like a referral campaign on the face of it. You wouldn't look at this and be like, okay, where is the referral code? How do you